You know it's this. Take a perk and a talk of that shit. Money swallowing like sis. Did it perfect in the kid. Got a billion who sang on my head. Look me better put on the road I just spent. I know we got $1 million. The devil that shit ain't not cheaper than again.
Hello and welcome back, fellow anime lovers, to MangaMuse. I am delighted to have you join us once again in the world of fanfiction and fantasy. This is the 8th part of What If Naruto Enters Avengers, Earth's Mightiest Heroes. Special note, this fanfic is written and a masterpiece of KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Do check and support the author too. Now smash the like, share and subscribe button for more. Also press the bell icon so that you never miss such great parts. Thanks for the introduction. Now let's dive into the world. New York City. Things had calmed down quite a bit after the failed invasion of Kong thanks to the efforts of Earth's heroes, Yamatora Village, and the Avengers heading into space to confront the time-traveling conqueror. Things were finally going pretty well with rebuilding everything that Kang's forces had destroyed, though thankfully things were going at a steady pace. Currently Naruto was in the city walking down the sidewalk while on the phone with Kushina. So how's New York treating you now that your Azas were saved by me and Sarutobi? Kushina asked with an audible smirk to her son. It's fine mom. Though admittedly it's freaking hot out. But I have my own question. Why did you send me this address to go to anyway? Naruto asked as he pulled out a letter he had gotten which had an address written on it. Can't a mother give her son she barely sees since they are in a different country a gift? Kushina asked. You saw me yesterday when you were hounding Janet about if she has what it takes to and I quote, keep Naruto's bees in line or you're giving Amora the head position unquote, Naruto said with a flat tone of voice. I still say she has the right mindset. Kushina exclaimed confidently. Yeah and Janet wins because she cussed you out. Didn't even think that was possible. I think I learned some new curse words from that exchange, Naruto admitted. So did I. But no, I have a totally harmless gift for you. No strings attached whatsoever. Kushina said with a kind tone. And you're mentally sound, Naruto said flatly. You little mother I mean beloved son of mine Kushina was saying. Okay, who are you and what have you done with my mother? Has she been replaced? Are you a pod person? 'Cause if so you may want to bring her back to save your species, Naruto said with a slight smirk. F it I gave it a shot, just get to the address the doorman will give you the key when you get there. Kushina sighed out in defeat. Key? Doorman? What the hell kind of gift is this? Naruto asked as he approached the building on the address which was a very nice building and very tall. Hello Mr. Uzumaki, here is your key to your new condo. The number is on it. Thanks again for choosing to buy it out, the doorman said with a smile at the Avenger. You didn't, Naruto said into the phone to his mother. Before you start take a look at it first, your girl is already up there, Kushina said with an audible smirk on her face. Please tell me you mean Janet and don't have Amora up there waiting for me, Naruto pleaded before he felt his phone buzz and when he looked at it he saw it was Janet calling which he quickly answered putting her on the same call as Kushina. Hey babe, what's up? He asked. This condo is awesome. There's a massive hot tub on the outside patio up here. Janet yelled excitedly. That's an experimental hot tub from Egghead. We'll stay hot even in the coldest of weather, Kushina said proudly. Oh thank God it's you in there. I thought mom had invited someone else, Naruto let out a breath of relief. I couldn't invite Amora anyways. She was busy with something, Kushina said with an eye roll. So you did try to have her there then? Naruto asked. Oh stop being a little bee and go check out your new condo BRT. Kushina yelled before she hung up. That woman is freaking crazy, Naruto muttered to himself before his phone went off again, this time showing Akane's face. Yes sis, he asked as he answered the phone. What's this SHT about you getting a condo? Akane yelled over the phone. Ka-san's idea. She's meddling in my love life again, Naruto explained flatly, not even caring about Akane's yelling. The F? I asked for my own place since I got here and she's been ignoring me. Akane growled out as Naruto got into the elevator. You don't need your own place. You have a room at the mansion. You are fine there, Naruto said flatly as the elevator opened after reaching Naruto's floor. That and you don't want her to have her own place because she may invite that Miles kid over, Janet said with a scoff. Stay out of this, Beam B. When you come back to the mansion I'm crushing both of you into the dirt. Akane yelled at Janet before hanging up in a rage. Trust me babe, I fear more for him than I do for Akane in that scenario, Naruto said flatly at what just occurred only to get silence from his girlfriend. You still there? He asked. I'm going to sting the hell out of her for calling me a beam, Janet growled out. That's hot, Naruto muttered as he finally made it to the room and opened the door to his new condo. The place was massive and filled with a bunch of tech from Egghead. A gift courtesy of his mother. This is amazing. It's like a mini Egghead in here. Naruto said as he looked around with a smile. Could use a woman's touch though, Janet said as she came into the living room from the patio. I suppose it could use some more organization and, oh my god, they sent me the ramen-only food machine. Naruto yelled, running towards it. That better make more than ramen, Janet said with a slight glare. Maybe? I'll be honest, I'm not sure. Make one burrito, Naruto ordered the machine. Which made a burrito inside of a ramen bowl for some reason. I don't even forget it, Naruto sighed out as he had no response. So a new condo, this mean you're moving out of the mansion now? Janet asked curiously. Nah, I'll use this as a safe house when needed and a retreat from the mansion, Naruto shrugged. You mean a place to lay low after you prank Hulk and he goes on a warpath, Janet said rather than asked. You know me far too well, Naruto admitted with a chuckle. Well, it comes with the territory. I want a key by the way, Janet said with a smile. There's a bowl with them somewhere, knowing my mother, Naruto said as he walked to a counter with a bowl of keys. Here is your key, he said as he handed her a key with her name on it. My key is labeled Head B, Janet said as she turned the key with her name over, showing said title of the other side. Are you honestly surprised knowing my mother? Naruto asked as he raised an eyebrow at this. You know what, fair, Janet said as she took the key and pocketed it. I still don't know why she had 13 other keys made, but whatever, Naruto shrugged, setting the bowl aside, which revealed another note. Naruto questioned as Janet took the note. Dear BRT, I'm sure you ended up moving the key bowl after taking your Head B's key. On top of the condo you now have access to a small private beach and beach house close by that Minato and I bought during the whole Devil's Breath cleanup. Feel free to use it. Or don't. I don't really care. Love Mom, Janet read aloud. A beach house. Since when does she waste money on stuff like dash, Naruto was saying before he was cut off. Perfect. Summer is here and I was wanting to take a dip. I was gonna do that at the manor, but Hulk and Clint are already there, so this is perfect. We're going to the beach. Janet declared with a grin. And not really huge on bees to be honest, Naruto admitted. Bikini, Janet told him simply as she slightly smirked as Naruto froze hearing this. But I can be persuaded to go, Naruto said quickly as he smiled. I'll go pack and I'll meet you there, Janet said with a smirk as Naruto nodded to get packed as well. Uzumaki private beach house 30 minutes later. Naruto was waiting on the front steps of the beach house wearing a simple pair of orange shorts. He was currently waiting for Janet to show up before heading inside. He was admittedly regretting the decision somewhat as it was hot as hell out. Possibly the hottest day in New York he had ever experienced since arriving there. But luckily for him he didn't have to wait long as Janet finally came into view. And immediately made his jaw drop. She was wearing a very tight golden bikini that showed off her curves and pushed her large assets together, pronouncing them even more for his eyes to drink in. What you think, babe? Janet asked as she lowered the sunglasses she was wearing and slightly winked at Naruto. I think I need a cold shower before I get a public indecency charge, Naruto muttered to himself as he turned around before he froze as Janet hugged him from behind, pushing her melons against his back. "Aw, poor Naruto, want me to help you?" Janet asked with a slight lustful purr as she blew into his ear seductively. "Perhaps we should take this inside?" Naruto requested as he was struggling to not go feral and crazy over her there and then. "Lead the way, big boy," Janet purred out as Naruto opened the door to the beach house. The first thing that greeted Naruto was not the sight of a massive, multi-floored beach house. The first thing that greeted him was a pair of large green melons wrapped up in very skimpy purple swimsuit that suddenly were pushed into his face. "About time you got here, Whiskers," Jennifer yelled as she wrapped her arms around Naruto's head to keep his head in place between her bosom. "What the hell? What are you doing here?" Janet asked, baffled as she caught sight of the jade giantess currently smothering her boyfriend with her chest as she walked behind them. "Waiting on you guys for the party." "Nice bikini, Janet. Let me guess you're looking to make a move?" Jennifer asked with a grin as she checked Janet out. "Obviously, I mean, why are you here?" "What party?" Janet asked, confused as all hell. "We all got an invite that our BB boy here was throwing a beach party and invited us all," Jennifer said. "We?" Naruto asked, still muffled by Jennifer's melons. Ladies Naruto and Janet finally showed up. "Now we can hit the beach." Jennifer yelled towards the stairs as she let go of Naruto as a multitude of footsteps sounded from the upper floors. "About time you got here, Shuga," Rogue said with a smile as she was the first to descend the stairs, revealing she was wearing a tight, green one-piece swimsuit with a large hole in the center to show off her melons while also wrapping tightly around her peach. Naruto muttered, seeing this as his brain started to fry from the sight. "If you think she's hot, check me out, stud," Laura said as she came down wearing a tiger print bikini as she smirked ferally at Naruto. A primal hunger dancing in her eyes. "I'm still so confused at this," Janet admitted as she looked at Rouge and Laura surprised. "Your boyfriend's mother sent us invites to this beach house, gotta say it's very nice," Luna said as she came downstairs to greet Janet wearing an ice blue, rhinestone-encrusted bikini with only one single strap on her right shoulder. "And there it is," Janet said with a groan as she should have seen this coming. "Hey Whiskers, you need to make a run to the grocery store," Doreen said with a smile as she came down wearing what could charitably be described as a bikini. In reality it was a skimpy, brown, thong bikini with tiny pieces of string connected to the parts that actually covered the squirrel girl's private areas barely. "Covered them. Easy, all of you, don't send the poor boy into shock," Ororo's voice said as she came downstairs wearing a white and gold bikini that clung to her large chest and showed off her peach. "Yeah, this isn't our place, so let's just calm down," Susan said as she followed Ororo down the stairs to join the others. Sue was wearing a strapless, dark blue, two-piece bikini top that hugged her rather large melons, pronouncing them more than usual, and matching dark blue bikini bottoms that clung to her peach. "I'm gonna kick your mother's peach for this one," Janet growled out, annoyed as she turned to Naruto only to see her boyfriend passed out on the ground. His nose bleeding. "What the hell?" Janet asked, baffled. "He needs to get laid big time," Deadpool said as he announced his presence by poking his head into an open window. "Wade, get out of here." Laura yelled angrily at the merc with a mouth not wanting to deal with his SHT today. "Fine. I have the footage to sell, hello taco and booze money," Deadpool said with a laugh as he ran away holding a camera. "Remind me to gouge his eyes out later," Laura growled out. "Relax, I have tippy toe on it," Doreen said with a smile, hearing this as she would take any chance to mess with Wade's schemes after his feeding her squirrels pop rocks. "Oh god, it's a swarm of cute furry death. What if I offer a virgin sacrifice? Would that appease you?" Deadpool was heard outside screaming in terror as he ran past the beach house from a swarm of angry squirrels. "I was not prepared for this today," Ororo admitted, seeing this. "I don't think any of us were," Susan said as she shook her head bewildered. "Hey, if she can keep Wade in line, I say keep her around," Laura said with a chuckle, hearing Deadpool's screams. "So I have a question. I get Laura, Rogue, Jennifer, Luna, and Doreen coming here for the invite. Why did you two? Janet asked, turning to Susan and Aurora, as she didn't think they'd care for this. Miss Kushina invited us personally, Aurora said with a shrug. Indeed, something about having women with more than 2 brain cells in the group. Truthfully, I wasn't going to come, but Ben and Johnny agreed to watch Franklin and said I could use a day to myself, Susan said. Ah, you chose to be one of Whisker's Playboy bunnies, eh? Doreen asked with a grin at the two. Please. While I can admit he is attractive and I can respect his skill and motivations and actions, I am hardly interested at the moment in him romantically, Aurora said with an eye roll. For the moment, huh? Jennifer asked, smirking at the weather witch. I will admit he is not unappealing. And perhaps he may interest me in the future. But for now I have no real longing to pursue that, Aurora admitted, knowing she wasn't going to get anywhere if she tried to ignore their digging. Well, he has the rights to have a HRM, Rogue said with a slight grin at Aurora as she tried to put on a front. Which I am not 100% sold on that fact and am surprised you are, Rogue, Aurora said as she turned to her fellow mutant. Please, thanks to him I can touch him and any others without draining them, thanks to hockey. If he were awake and wanted to take me in this room, I'd already be bent over for him and asking if any of y'all wanted in, Rogue said with a smirk. That a real offer, we? Doreen asked as she raised her hand before Luna slapped the back of her head to silence her. Well, we heard from the storm, but what about the invisible woman here? She didn't answer in regards to the Playboy bunny question, Laura said, looking at Susan. Laura, be silent, Aurora told the younger mutant with a firm tone, as she knew Susan was still not fully over the death of her husband, and this kind of teasing was not what she should have to deal with. It's fine, Aurora. I'll admit Naruto has me conflicted in my interest. In some ways he reminds me of Reed, and yet the two are so radically different. There were days Reed spent in that lab tinkering away and never making as much time for me as I wish he had. He was always logical and rational. However, I still miss him dearly. But with Naruto he is emotional, and let said emotions drive him. He doesn't rely on smarts when he uses his heart to guide him. It's inspiring in some ways. And he saved my life, risking his own against doom. If the enchantress hadn't healed him and he awoke that transformation, he would have traded his life to save mine. I can't be anything but grateful for that, Susan said, looking at the still passed out Naruto with a smile. So the verdict on joining in? Laura asked with a quirked eyebrow at the fantastic MLF. I don't know. I just don't know, Sue said, genuinely not sure. She knew Reed would want her to move on. That wasn't the issue. The issue was, is she ready yet to move on? Would she ever be ready to? Take it at your own pace. That's all I'll say, Janet said after absorbing all that Susan revealed to them. You approve of her then, Head B? Laura asked, turning to the auburn-haired beauty. God damn it, Kushina, Janet groaned out as she grabbed her forehead. Why is she Head B? Jennifer asked, raising an eyebrow. Better her than Naruto's Asgardian stalker, Rogue said with an annoyed tone. He has a stalker? Luna asked curiously. She can't be that bad, can she? Doreen asked, curious as well. She's a pain in the ass, constantly trying to drag him off to other realms to do God knows what with him. Janet grunted out. You actually feel threatened by her? I mean, if she's that desperate she can't possibly compete with you. I mean, you're a 10 out of holy SHT. Doreen was saying before her eyes widened as Janet pulled out her phone and showed an image of Amora doing a CC pose on a heart-shaped bed. Beckoning the camera with her finger, a coy grin on her lips. She's a pain in the ass, but she's gorgeous, I admit that. Janet said as she put away the phone. Oh please, like that matters to Naruto, Laura said with a scoff. That's the worst part. I know it's not her looks that's getting to him. His interactions with her make him think she can be rehabilitated or saved, Janet said with a sigh. Aw, that's so sweet. What? It is. Doreen said with a smile before she saw that the other women were looking at her with flat looks. I still don't trust her. Especially because she hasn't stopped doing evil. She may have saved Naruto but she's still a villain regardless, Janet said with a frown. She did help you and us when Khan attacked, Jennifer pointed out. Yeah, to try and get into Naruto's pants. At least Sasuke when he helped admitted he was doing this to save the stuff he has on Earth. I can respect that at least, Janet said with an eye roll. I feel like we should table the conversation on the Asgardian stalker and wake up your boyfriend since he's still passed out, Luna said pointing at the still unconscious Naruto. Alright, I'll wake him up. Yo Whiskers, I have a bowl of ramen for you, Jennifer said as she walked over and knelt down next to Naruto's ear to get him up. There is no way that could possibly work, Ororo said flatly at the She-Hulk's method. 3, 2, 1, Rogue said counting down on her hand. Ramen? Where? Gimme. Naruto yelled springing to his feet immediately looking around for said ramen bowl. You have to be kidding me, Ororo groaned out at this. Oh you're good, Doreen said with a grin at Jennifer who high-fived the squirrel girl. Welcome back to Land of the Living Whiskers, Laura said with a smirk. You have any good dreams? Jennifer asked with a smirk of her own. I plead the fifth, Naruto said as he slightly shuddered under the gaze of all the ladies there looking at him. That's fine, you don't have to answer that one. Instead, why don't you answer which swimsuit you like the most, Doreen suggested with a grin. New subject. Naruto yelled hearing this. Okay then, about this HRM of yours, Laura said as she pulled Naruto close and smirked as he froze up. Naruto said as he gulped nervously. Since your girlfriend gave me her approval a while back. When do we get to have some real fun? Laura asked with a feral grin. Janet help? Naruto asked as he turned to look at his girlfriend. I get him first, we set up the rules after. Janet said with a firm tone. Gah! Naruto yelled out in shock at the casual way Janet said that. Very well, I can wait, you will be mine soon enough, Laura said with a smirk before she leaned forward and licked Naruto's whisker mark, sensually making him groan as his swimsuit became uncomfortably tight. Any chance you want to go for him right now? I'm down for a THRSM, Jennifer asked Janet as she looked at Naruto's growing PP. Hey, if anyone's joining her for a THRSM with whiskers, it's me or Luna. Doreen exclaimed hearing this. Exact, what? Luna asked turning to her friend wide-eyed. Best friends get priority and don't tell me you ain't interested, I know you are since he's funnier than the ant dude she was pining for beforehand, Doreen said with a giggle. New topic please, Janet groaned out as she rubbed her forehead. Okay, hey Whiskers, your mom told me you like big girls, is that true? Doreen asked smirking as she sidled up to Naruto and pressed her large chest into his side. DMN it ka-san ah. Naruto was saying before Doreen grabbed his hands and placed them on her peach. Aw, such a firm grip, Doran into Naruto's ear. Oh, I like her. Jennifer cackled from next to Susan as the mother looked on blushing at the scene before her. Okay, don't panic Naruto. You're just in a beach house with very willing females in CC bikinis. You've faced villains. You can do this. No, we can't. Please, any god or being that will listen, if you can get me out of this I will do anything. I'll take Amora on a date if you want. Just get me out of this situation. Naruto yelled in his mind. His prayers were answered however. Hey guys. It's snowing outside, Rogue said as she turned briefly away from Doreen's teasing to look outside and saw snow falling outside. All Whiskers was about to break, Doreen said with a pout before turning to Luna, why'd you have to make it snow? I thought we were gonna wait till him, Janet, you, and me were near a cave and wall it off with ice, Doreen said with a groan. We agreed on no such thing. And I'm not making it snow, Luna yelled before she looked out the window and saw that there had been a massive blizzard covering the entire beach and freezing the ocean in mere seconds. Wait, if you're not, then who or what is? Doreen asked, blinking before the wall of the beach house suddenly crashed open as a giant ice lizard-like creature crashed into the middle of the room letting in cold air. So much for a day at the beach, Naruto sighed out as he cracked his neck and started walking towards the ice lizard. Look, I don't know what your deal is, but you have exactly 5 seconds to get out of my family's beach house, Naruto warned. The ice lizard just roared at Naruto, but before he could attack him, Naruto slugged him hard in the jaw, shattering the giant lizard into pieces. He called me slur. You all heard it. He had it coming. Man, is it cold. Naruto said as he shook his fist before getting hit by a cold blast of wind entering from the hole in the beach house. Ignoring his jokes, we should probably get with our teams and find the cause of this blizzard, Ororo suggested. After we get dressed, of course. I don't know about you all, but I'd rather not fight in a blizzard wearing a bikini, Susan said. Not unless Whiskers is the one I'm fighting. Though in hindsight I would want him to win, MPPPH. Doreen was saying before Luna covered Doreen's mouth with her hand to stop her friend from causing more embarrassment. Just get upstairs and change. We all brought our gear just to be safe, right? Luna asked as she looked at the others. Yeah, it's upstairs, Suga. There goes me getting a tan, Rogue sighed out. You should change too, babe, Janet said looking at her boyfriend. Yeah, so funny thing, the weatherman mentioned nothing about a blizzard. So I didn't bring my hero outfit, Naruto said sheepishly. So you just gonna fight in swim trunks in a blizzard? 'Cause not gonna lie, I'd pay to see it, Jennifer said grinning. Before Naruto could fight, a beeping sound was heard as what looked like a drone flew through the hole in the wall before it dropped a bag at Naruto's feet. Stark. This is doing? Laura asked, seeing the drone. No, it's old man Sarutobi's model. I'm guessing mom ordered him to send this, figuring I was at the beach house, Naruto said. Looks like a note from your dad is attached, Janet said as she grabbed the note. Hey son. Hope this helps while we deal with this random worldwide blizzard. Your mom says you better stop being a punk with your girls after this favor. P.S. Do not stop in Yamatora when you go to inevitably confront what you have to fight. Your mother has already decimated 63 of these ice lizards with a deathly impact. Correction, 85 now. Stay away. Love, Dad, Janet read aloud. Good to know I don't feel like getting my peach handed to me by her, Naruto said with a shudder. Iron Man to all Avengers. We have a bead on what's causing this. Thor, Panther, and I are gonna deal with it. Everyone else stay and defend the city, Tony said through the ID ringing on Janet's peach. Hold it, Stark, come get me as well, Naruto said into the ID. Whiskers. Where are you anyway? I asked Clint, but he just said you and Jan were off somewhere else. He and Hulk are defending the mansion solo, Tony asked. Akane didn't tell you? Naruto asked curiously. All she said to me was to go to hell and that if I said one more word she'd send me there personally. So typical Thursday really, Tony said flatly. I'm at my parents' beach house on the edge of New York. Jan, myself, and some others were gonna enjoy a day of swimming and beach fun until this blizzard hit. Naruto quickly explained. Your parents have a beach house in New York? Tony asked confused. There's giant ice lizards attacking people and that's what you're focusing on? Susan asked through the ID. Please tell me you guys weren't having an org, Tony asked. Doreen almost broke him into it, Jennifer giggled. Stupid PP blocking blizzard. Doreen yelled. Go get dressed, woman. Naruto yelled, reaching his wit's end. Oh, so forceful, Doreen giggled as she went upstairs along with the others. Ignoring all of that, wouldn't you better suited for defending the city, boy of joys? Thor asked from beside Stark. I'm assuming that if Thor, you, and Chala are off after whatever is causing this, it's either science related or magic related. Meaning having someone with hockey with you is a good idea to help weaken whatever it is, Naruto said as he looked at the ID. Sound reasoning, Chala said, finding Naruto's reasoning acceptable. Okay, we are on our way. Jan, if you're there, head back to the manor to aid Clint, Hulk, Hank, Akane, and Steve with city defense, Tony ordered. I'm on it, hey. The rest of you up there better be ready to help. Janet said with a nod before she yelled upstairs. Looks like we have some uninvited guests, Naruto told them as he headed through the hole in the wall after changing and spotting several ice lizards rushing towards the beach house. Sorry, this party is invite only, Naruto said with a smirk as he cracked his knuckles before covering his hands in armament hockey, gum gatling. Naruto yelled as he stretched and crashed his fists into each of the ice lizards, shattering them into shards of ice until the others came outside dressed in their hero suits. Oi Whiskers! Climb aboard! Tony yelled as a Quinjet flew above and the ramp lowered as Naruto leapt onto it. Be safe all of you, Naruto told the assembled ladies before the ramp closed as Tony flew the jet off. So where exactly are we heading and what's causing this? Naruto asked his teammates. The Casket of Ancient Winters. An Asgardian artifact that creates an endless winter as long as it remains open, Thor told his friend. Thor, next time you invite someone to a party and tell them to bring cold ones, this is not what we mean, Naruto said after a few moments of thought. Ha! Tony snorted under his silver cold-resistant armor. My father hid the casket, it seems, in Midgard for safekeeping so no one would find it and use it, Thor said, ignoring Naruto's joke. Yeah, how'd that go? Someone found it and used it. You know, you complain about my technology all the time, but at least my tech didn't make an Asgardian super winter, Tony said, looking at Thor with a smirk. Have they been like this all day? Naruto asked Chala. Indeed. Chala said as Thor and Tony argued over what causes more damage. Magic or technology? Both of you shut the hell up. It doesn't matter which is better or worse, what matters is how it's used. Now if you two morons don't shut the hell up, I'm going to shove my mace right up. Akane was yelling as she made her presence known before Naruto cut her off. Akane? I thought you were defending the city with the others. Naruto asked, confused on his sister's presence. I knew these morons would make a beeline for whatever was causing this and I decided to stow away. I don't play defense. I obliterate the problem in front of us, Akane said, hefting her mace on her shoulder. We're gonna have a talk about disobeying orders later, Tony said with a scowl. Look as annoyed as I am about this too, cause this means I could have stayed behind to help with defense. She's here already and we're on a time crunch. Let's just go take care of this casket. Where is it exactly? Naruto asked. Norway, Chala said. Good, set sail for Norway and the box of the new ice age, Naruto nodded. Casket of Ancient Winters, Thor corrected. Tomato, Naruto shrugged. Minutes later, Norway. After ending the argument between Thor and Iron Man, the Quinjet continued its flight through the magically induced blizzard to head to the location of the Casket of Ancient Winters. As it flew, however, once it reached Norway itself, close to the very location, the blizzard spiked in the amount of snow and ice, freezing the Quinjet's engines despite the heat coming off of them and causing the ship to crash into the snow. I hate magic so much, Tony grunted out as the ship crashed into the snow near the mouth of a large cave where the casket was being traced. Everyone okay? Naruto asked, unharmed by the crash. I'm fine, my friend, Chala said with a nod towards the Yamatoran prince. The as who caused this won't be. I had something else to do besides this BS. Akane yelled as she rested her mace on her shoulder. With Miles? Oi. Naruto was saying with a snicker before Akane sent a swing of her mace into Naruto, making him duck under it. I ain't hearing any of your overprotective BS, DMN it. Akane growled out as the team exited the Quinjet. Overprotective? Ha! If anyone needs protecting, it's Miles. I know how you are. That kid has no idea of the minefield he's walking in when it comes to Uzumaki women, Naruto said, snorting in laughter as the small Avengers team started to walk into the cave. I am surprised your Quinjet was unable to handle the cold start, Thor said as he used Mjolnir to channel electricity to make it glow with light to guide the group through the dark cave. It can handle the cold fine, Tony grunted out. You two done with your PP measuring BS? Cause I see the DMN casket, Akane asked with a growl as they came into a large ice-filled room filled with ice stairs leading to a large ice throne with a shadowed figure sitting atop it and a floating box that was spewing out cold magical energy. Oh good, that was way faster than Naruto was saying as he looked around the room before his eyes widened as he saw a figure encased and frozen in ice. Amora. Frozen in a block of ice, an expression of terror on her face. Janet a 20, she called her an icy beach, Akane snickered. Cut the stand-up CRP and help me. Naruto yelled while channeling some conqueror's haki for emphasis before he ran over to Amora. Why? She's caused you so many issues and is an enemy of this 1-inch, Akane said with a frown as she pointed at Thor. Get her out and I'll pay for your next shopping spree at that game store, Naruto offered. I could use a few new consoles, Akane said with a smirk hearing this. Fine. Just get her out while I introduce myself to the as who did this. By planting my boot up his ass, Naruto growled as he walked forward towards the throne while Akane approached the frozen Amora. Ooh, should I be shivering in fright, mortal? The shadowed figure sitting on the throne asked as he shifted for his face to be revealed partially in the light, showing blackish-gray skin and long white hair. Malekith, Thor said with a glare as he recognizes the man. You know this guy? Tony asked as he readied his repulsors. Malekith the Accursed. The MSTR of the Hounds. A dark elf from the realm of Svartalfheim, Thor explained. Yeah, that didn't clear anything up, Tony said as Thor approached Malekith. You and your people were destroyed by the frost giants. How did you come here? Thor demanded. I walk in both worlds now, Odinson. The living and the dead, Malekith said as he shifted in the light to reveal the other half of his face was pale blue. Like ice. Die zombie. Naruto yelled as he sent an armament haki-infused punch into Malekith's face, sending the dark elf crashing through his ice throne into the cave wall. You will regret that, mortal, Malekith growled out, annoyed at the pain as the magic cold from the casket suddenly twisted and went towards Naruto, who rolled out of the way. Unfortunately, Thor was not as fast and much like Amora was now frozen in ice. What do you want, Malekith? Why have you unleashed this winter on Earth? Chala demanded of the dark elf as he leapt off the wall to the ground in front of them. I had heard that Thor had turned his back on his father, choosing this mortal realm over Asgard. I too wish to make my home here. I will bring my people back to the land of the living in Midgard. In fact, it has already begun, Malekith told them. Ah, I get it, you're some sad sack that can't take a loss, Akane said with a scoff as she approached with her mace at the ready. Your words mean little to me, mortal girl. The casket's power will destroy all you pathetic mortals and I will cut off Midgard from the 9 realms. This land will become a new paradise for the dark elves. Ruled by me, Malekith said as growls were heard coming from the cave as 3 large hounds came in bearing fangs at the Avengers. Let's test that theory, you ready, bro? Akane asked as she switched to her half-divine wolf form as she turned to face the wolves. You know it, sis. Tell me, what gear should I use for this prick? Naruto asked as he glared at Malekith. You want payback for what he did to your stalker, right? Go full power, Akane said with a grin. That's just vindictive. What the hell, Naruto said before he smiled as his hair started to turn white before he started to laugh madly as Conqueror's haki exploded off of him, flooding the cave with its power. What sorcery is this, Gak? Malekith was saying before a stretched hand suddenly grabbed him by the throat, choking him. Get over here. Naruto yelled as he pulled Malekith towards him and Akane. As this happened, Akane raised an eyebrow as Malekith wolves growled at her. She then bared her fangs at them and barked at them while unleashing some Conqueror's haki. This caused the wolves to whine and lower their heads in SBMSN. MSTR of hounds my ass, Akane scoffed before turning to see her brother had Malekith against the cave wall and was punching him over and over again in the kidney. Say uncle. Naruto ordered. Let me go, you, ga. Stop doing that. Malekith demanded. Kidney shot. Kidney shot. Kidney shot. And pause, nutcracker. Naruto yelled, laughing with each punch to the kidneys he gave before pausing and slamming his knee into the dark elf's PP. a high-pitched squeal came from the dark elf after taking a knee to his groin. Oh, that was a love tap. I thought you were supposed to be the big bad dark elf king. Where'd all that SHT you were talking earlier? Naruto asked laughing. You dare mock me, mortal? I will see your entrails strewn about and your skull will become my new sturmph. Malekith was saying before Naruto's hand suddenly covered his mole. Shugh. Do you hear that? Naruto asked, getting a quirked eyebrow from the dark elf before his eyes widened and popped out as Naruto sent a punch to his stomach, making the dark elf double over in pain. That's the sound of a whiny little bee getting his organs rearranged, Akane said with a smirk as she approached her brother and Malekith holding up her mace. Say bro, want to play some baseball? Elaine asked, smirking. Sounds fun, and we have the perfect ball right here. Batter up, sis. Naruto yelled with deranged laughter as he threw Malekith towards his sister, who slammed a conqueror's coated mace into the face of the dark elf and drove him into the ground, making him scream in pain and agony. Oh, come on, one hit and you're done. How pathetic, Akane scoffed as she kept pressing her iron mace into the dark elf. Get it off. It burns. Malekith yelled in pain as his face burned. Oh, you better be kidding me, he's weak to iron. Akane asked flatly. That fairy tale stuff is true? Gahahahahaha. Naruto asked before he laughed hard hearing this. Keep him pinned down while I free Thor, Tony ordered. Please let me go. I'll call off the winter. Just no more. Malekith begged. Oh, please, you try a world-ending event and think you can walk away. Sorry, but I'm not as soft-hearted as some of my other teammates. Akane yelled, pressing her mace further into Malekith's face, making him scream in even more agony as his skin started to harden and turn to ash. Mercy. I beg. I'll leave and never return. Malekith pleaded. You're right. You won't. You were between the realm of the living and dead, right? Let's help you make a choice. Akane yelled as she lifted her mace and coated it with Conqueror's Haki before slamming it into the dark elf's face, his head splattering against the ice on the ground as he turned to dust. Whoa, Tony muttered, seeing Akane just end the dark elf as Thor was freed from his prison. The casket is still open. We must close it, Thor grunted out as he started to clamber his way to the magic box through the biting, magical cold that was chilling Thor to the very bone. Only for Naruto, still in Gear 5, to casually walk up to it and close it without any issue. How did Dash? Thor asked before Chala cut him off. Better not to question these things when it comes to Naruto's powers, the Wakandan prince said as Naruto dropped out of Gear 5. Ugh, I need food, Naruto groaned out as he handed the casket to Thor. Perfect, I shall make sure this doesn't fall in the wrong Dash, Thor was saying before an axe suddenly slammed into him, sending him to the floor as green magical binding wrapped around the 5 Avengers. Oh, right them, Tony said as Amora and Scourge walked towards them. What the hell is with you, B? We just saved your goddamned ass from being frozen forever. Akane growled out, gnashing her fangs at the enchantress as she picked up the casket of ancient winters and looked at it. Which is why we will be leaving. We have important business with this artifact, Amora said with a grin as she handed the casket to Scourge to hold. Amora, what's your game here? Were you working with Malekith? Naruto asked, looking at the enchantress. Do not fret, beloved. Everything will all be over soon. And once it is, we can live happily ever after, Amora said with a blush and giggle. Why does that one sentence fill me with more dread than anything I have ever faced? Naruto asked his teammates. F this. Akane yelled as she jumped at Amora despite her arms being bound, but her path was blocked by the executioner, who slammed his axe into the wolf girl's face, sending her to the ground. You will not lay a finger on the enchant Dash, Scourge growled out before he was pounced upon by the wolves Malekith had summoned. Yeah, rip him apart, you 3. Akane yelled, grinning ferally as the 3 wolves bit and clawed at the executioner. That is enough, Scourge. We must go. I will see you soon, beloved, Amora said as she smiled at Naruto before green smoke came off of her and wrapped around her and the executioner, making them vanish in a portal. Thor growled as the magical binding came undone as he started to swing his hammer, shooting electricity as a blue portal formed. What are you doing? Tony asked, confused. I am opening a portal to Asgard. The enchantress must pay for this affront, Thor declared as he ran at the portal. Only for the portal to blast Thor back and close, sending him to the floor. Are you alright? Chala asked as he helped the god of thunder to his feet. I have been locked out of Asgard by a power far greater than my own. I cannot return home, Thor said in shock and horror at this realization. We should head back to the mansion and talk with the team. Figure out a plan for Amora and Scourge, Naruto suggested, seeing as there wasn't anything else they could do for now. I say we use you as live bait, then I bash that bee's head in and then feed her to my new minions, Akane said with a grin as they left the cave. Kid, I don't think your new friends will fit in my jet, Tony said as he looked at the three wolves that were following them. More specifically, they were following Akane. Oh, so the jet that can fit the entire team including the Hulk can't fit 3 average-sized wolves. Talk about pathetic tech, Stark, Akane scoffed. We're not leaving until we say you can keep them, are we? Naruto asked with a flat tone. You have a pet dinosaur. What's 3 wolves compared to that? Akane asked with an eye roll. Devil is housebroken and trained. These were wild, trying to eat us wolves, Naruto pointed out. Didn't Devil try to eat you when you first met? Akane pointed out. Point made, you're cleaning up after them, Naruto said with a sigh of defeat. Do I get a say in this since it's my mansion? Tony asked, irritated. Okay, you tell her no, Chala said as they got into the jet. Oh please, I'm not afraid of a teenager, Tony said as he walked towards Akane. Look, I get you're attached to them, but there is no way I'm letting those mutts into the mansion, Tony said. Do it or I'll tell Wade the security codes for the mansion and your tower. How would you and Pepper like to enjoy a date interrupted by Wade? Every single day. Akane said with a glare of warning. I'm so happy you had your sister join the team, Whiskers. Tony yelled after Naruto. I didn't do SHT. She just came to New York and refused to leave. Besides, would you rather her be out on her own? Naruto asked. She ain't my sister, kid. I'm considering it, Tony grumbled. That's fine, I can always join up with Elektra again. Or maybe I'll find that Punisher guy going around and work with him. He seems like my kind of ally, Akane said, smirking. Hell the F no, am I letting you work with the Punisher? You're violent enough as it is, fine, you can keep them. Tony said with a shudder. Thanks Sugar, Akane said with a smirk as she snapped her fingers as her 3 wolves followed her up the ramp, snickering at Tony. When did my life become this crazy? Tony asked with a sigh. When did you become Iron Man? Naruto asked rhetorically. Touché, Tony sighed out as the team got back on the ship and flew back to New York. Naruto's condo later on. After getting back to New York and having a small meeting about what occurred, Naruto went to his condo to see if he could organize it into a decent safe house and make sure he wasn't gonna wake up in the middle of the night and get impaled by some egghead tech. As Naruto entered his bedroom to rest for the night, he paused as he noticed that the light in the connected bathroom was on, but before he could react the bathroom door opened and Janet, wrapped up in a bath towel, walked out. Naruto asked wide-eyed as his brain shorted out from the sight of his very CC girlfriend clad only in a towel. Oh hey sweetie, I let myself in while you were organizing stuff. Hope that's okay, Janet said with a smirk at seeing Naruto's reaction. Naruto repeated, still unable to form words. You know, we never got to have our day of fun on the beach thanks to that casket CRP. Janet mused as she sashayed towards Naruto. So I was thinking maybe we should make up for lost time, Janet said, smirking before she dropped the towel to the floor, revealing every inch of her for Naruto to drink in. Despite not being in Gear 5 at the moment, Naruto's eyes nearly popped out of his head at the sight as Janet approached him and grabbed his pee-pee and started to rub it. So what do you say, stud? Want to take your head bee for a test run? Janet asked, smirking as she slid her hand down his lowers to grab at the hardening PP underneath. Naruto grunted at this before he oiksed her up caveman style and dropped Janet onto his bed, making her laugh before he jumped onto the bed to join her. "Are you sure you want to do this? I'm not gonna pressure you into this, Jan," Naruto told her as he took off his shirt. Janet smiled at this before she pulled Naruto into a kiss. "I know now, take me, prince," Janet purred out with a grin as she licked Naruto's cheek, making him shudder. That was enough for the dam to finally break. With a lustful growl, Naruto threw aside his lowers and underwear to join his lover in NDTY as he crawled next to her. "God, it looks even bigger than last time," Janet muttered, licking her lips as she recalled the time she stormed into his shower to chase off Amora and saw what he was packing. "Nervous?" Naruto asked teasingly. Janet rolled her eyes at this before she shoved Naruto onto his back and crawled into his lap, straddling him. "No FRPLY?" Naruto asked as he held Janet by her peach as she rubbed her wet PP on his throbbing PP. "I've waited long enough for this. And the other girls are getting antsy. So we can do FRPLY another time. Tonight is all about you stretching me for once," Janet smirked before without any hesitation or warning she dropped herself onto his hardened pages. The fresh rod already stretching her sopping PP as the Wasp heroine let out a loud MMM. "God DMN." Naruto groaned out, feeling Janet's walls tightening around his PP. "How's it feeling, stud?" Janet asked with a smirk as she bounced in Naruto's lap. "You feel so good, Janet. I wish I had known SEC would feel this good," Naruto out, making Janet pause for a moment. "Hold up your aversion?" Janet asked, not expecting that. "Technically I was. You saw to me not being 1 inch," Naruto said with a smirk. "Oh, then don't feel too bad if you're a quick shot, babe. It happens to every eep," Janet was saying before she found herself suddenly on her back with Naruto on top of her. "You shouldn't underestimate me, babe. I may not have had SEC before, but I always give it my best," Naruto said with a grin as he started to hammer away at Janet's pages, thrusting in and out of her like a man possessed. "Ah," Janet as she arched her back while holding Naruto close as he ravished her. "Still worried I'm gonna be a quick shot, babe?" Naruto asked with a smirk as he reached a hand up to Janet's BRST and squeezed it. "Aw. If you make me leak you can have my peach," Janet panted out as she looked at Naruto with a lustful look in her eyes. "Now that's motivation." Naruto laughed as he started to move harder and faster into Janet's CNT, making her squeal as his hands went to her bouncing melons and started to tweak and twist her tips, making Janet bite her lip to keep from getting too loud. "Hey, you can let loose. I love hearing your babe," Naruto told her with a grin as his fingers on her melons moved towards her tips and tweaked them, making Janet squeak as she was unable to keep her under wraps. "That was adorable," Naruto chuckled at his girlfriend's reaction. Shut up and take me like you mean it," Janet stuttered out in a bit of embarrassment as she pulled Naruto close and shoved her tongue in his through in a heated French kiss. "Your wish is my command, my dear," Naruto told her with a grin as he picked up the pace of his thrusts, going even harder and faster as he pounded away at her in a mating press. "Ah. Ah. Oh God, I'm gonna, Janet panted out as she scratched Naruto's back as she held him close. Me too. Should I pull out?" Naruto asked as he made to pull out but felt Janet's legs wrap around his hips and keep him locked. "Don't you dare. It's a safe day and I'm on BRTHCNTRL. Now leak in me, you hung son of a b," Janet demanded with her eyes half lidded as she looked at Naruto with desperation and want. "Gah. Naruto growled out as he let the dam finally break, his hot juices filling his girlfriend's inners as Janet squealed in delightful pleasure. "Ah!" Janet yelled as she arched her back as she climaxed HRD on Naruto's PP, the two orgasming in sync before she felt Naruto pull out of her. "That was amazing," Janet panted out as she smiled in bliss. "Who said I was done?" Naruto grunted as he flipped Janet over so she was on her hands and knees, Wait, what? Janet asked before feeling Naruto's still hard PP rub against her peach crack. A deal's a deal, my Wasp and I aim to collect, Naruto said with a smirk as he smacked Janet's peach with his palm, leaving a small red print. Ah! Janet squeaked out. That wasn't too far, was it? Naruto asked, pausing in his actions. Do it again, Janet said as she looked over her shoulder at Naruto with a lustful smile as she rubbed her peach on his throbbing PP. Okay, so you're a MSCST. Good to know for the future, Naruto chuckled. Oi, less talking, you want this peach or what? Janet demanded as she shook her peach at him again, this time making it lightly bounce. Yes ma'am. Naruto yelled with salute before impaling his PP into her peach, making Janet arch her back and scream in absolute pleasure. With Amura. Unknown to the two, a small, green glowing eyeball happened to be in the room watching every single thing occurring. All courtesy of the enchantress who had figured she could spy on Naruto in his shower like she normally did every night. However, instead she was treated to the sight of Naruto plowing her rival for his affections. Now normally Amora would not be thrilled at this turn of events. Mostly because her beloved wasn't doing so with her. In this case though. Take her beloved. Make her your plaything. Reduce her to a SLV so I may take her place. Amora begged with insane glee as she watched the two rut in her private quarters. All the while her hands beneath her clothes pleasuring herself to the sight of the two mating like rabid animals. Should we do something? Abomination asked his gathered companions as they could hear Amora's crazed giggles and laughter coming from her private quarters even with the doors shut and the soundproofing Zemo had put into the base. Let's get as far away as possible and not interrupt her, Crimson Dynamo said as the Masters of Evil slowly backed away. Even Scourge backed away from his mistress's door. Back with Naruto and Janet. Ah! Oh God, Naruto! Janet panted as she held a pillow close to her as Naruto hammered away at her peach, making her peach clap against his abs repeatedly, making them jiggle. Naruto grunted deeply as he reached forward and leaned into Janet's ear. Tell me you're mine, he grunted out before he smacked Janet's peach hard, making it wobble even more for him and Janet to cry out in pleasure. Ah! I'm yours. I'm yours, DMN. Janet screamed out in unrestrained glee and pleasure. That's my girl, Naruto grunted out as he grabbed Janet's peach roughly and started to move even harder as he felt he was getting close to another CLMX. Ah! Janet squeaked out with each move of her lover's PP into her peach as her eyes rolled up in her head. They had been going at this for so long and he was so rough. It was wonderful. She didn't know if her mind could take much more though. Ready for another juices, babe? Naruto asked with a grin. Janet as she looked over her shoulder at her lover and licked her lips sensually. I'll take that as a yes. And speaking of taking. Take this. Naruto roared out as he hilted himself inside Janet's peach and leaked his hot white juices filling his girlfriend's peach. Janet squealed in pleasure as she too climaxed. Her body shuddering and shaking as her own orgasm hit. It wasn't long before her head hit the bed face down, peach up. Leaking juices from both her CNT and peach. Eyes half-lidded and tongue hanging out of her mouth. Woo! Naruto panted out a bit as he looked down at Janet and smiled, feeling some pride knowing he had done so well getting her off. So full. So good, Janet out. Thanks, so you good to go for more? Naruto asked with a grin as he felt ready to go. Leak again. Janet stuttered out. That's the hope, babe, Naruto said as he grabbed Janet and flipped her on her back again before he got on top of her and pulled her into a kiss. Oh God, his stamina is too much. I need help. Janet thought to herself before she felt Naruto once more impale her PP with his PP. Her screams and would echo throughout the whole night for all of New York to hear as Naruto made her experience orgasm after orgasm. With Amora. Ah! He's so rough and virile. I can't wait to have him take me like that. Amora squealed out in crazed glee before a knock on the door to her quarters sounded. "I am busy. Leave me immediately," Amora demanded. "Not happening," Sasuke's voice came from behind the door, catching Amora's attention. "Uchiha. I thought you were hunting down the person who marked you." "What was his argo something?" Amora asked as she magically reapplied her clothing before walking to the door and opening it. "Orochimaru, and yeah, I finally found a lead and I'm expecting resistance. So I need some help to take him down and get answers," Sasuke said with an annoyed tone of voice. "So go ask one of the others. I am far too busy with other matters to assist you," Amora told him in the most polite way she could tell him to F off. "You're the only person who went to Yamatora with me. I don't want anyone else form the team involved," Sasuke said with a firm tone. "Understandable, I suppose, but even so I am much too preoccupied to assist you," Amora told him before turning away. "I'll ask Naruto to join us on this mission," Sasuke told her with a slight smirk as the enchantress froze at his words. "Very well, we will leave tomorrow," Amora said before shutting the door. "Huh, I expected her to freak out," Sasuke mused. A girlish squeal sounded from Amora's room. "Ah, there it is," Sasuke said with a chuckle before heading to his own room. He'd contact Naruto for aid and he'd avoid telling him that Amora would be there. Just for shits and giggles, really. With Naruto. As Naruto laid beside a sleeping Janet after they finally finished their lovemaking, he suddenly shuddered as a cold chill ran down his spine. Unaware of what he'd be brought into tomorrow. Naruto's apartment. The next day. It was the day after the city and world was under attack by dark elf spirits in the form of giant ice lizards, where the Avengers defeated Malekith in combat to end the threat on the world. It was also the day after Naruto and Janet had finally done the deed, from which if you asked certain Avengers you would have been met with an "it's about goddamn time" from them. "Morning, babe," Naruto said with a smile as he poured some coffee into a mug while Janet, wearing one of Naruto's shirts, stumbled into the kitchen/dining room area. "Coffee please," Janet groaned out, rubbing the sleep from her eyes. "Way ahead of you. I made it just like you like. I'm also making you breakfast," Naruto said as he handed his girlfriend a mug of coffee before going back to the kitchen. "If I wasn't so sore from last night I'd rock your world again," Janet told him as she took the drink like it was a gift from the gods. Naruto laughed at this, feeling his ego inflate a little as he cooked some bacon and eggs for his girlfriend. "You're not gonna just use the vending machine?" Janet asked with a raised eyebrow, seeing Naruto using the stove. "Well, from what my dad said, it means more when you make your lover breakfast yourself, right?" Naruto asked. "It's broken, isn't it?" Janet asked, raising an eyebrow at this. "Updating," Naruto said with a casual tone as he gave Janet a plate of food. "Thanks, and by the way, yes, it does mean more," Janet said with a smile before she kissed Naruto on the cheek and smiled at him. "Ely, make sure we don't rely on the machine except for when we're both in a rush or just need something fast," Naruto told her with a smile of his own. "God, you two are sickeningly sweet," a male voice said, making them turn to see a green portal in the middle of the kitchen as Sasuke walked out of it. And then several guns popped out of the walls, ceiling, and floor to point at him. "The hell?" Sasuke asked, blinking. "It's a guest. It's a guest override code. SHT, mom never gave me the override code." "A spatula? Ego? Foxfire? Chainsaw?" Naruto asked as the gun started to charge up with energy. "Override code, I'm not giving my name to AF machine," Janet said with a roll of her eyes. This resulted in the guns all retracting back into the floor and ceiling. "How the hell did you know that?" Naruto asked as he looked at Janet. "I think I have a good idea what your mom is like at this point, babe," Janet said flatly. "She's not wrong," Sasuke said with a snort. "You know, you could have called if you wanted to see the new place," Naruto pointed out. "I'm not here for that. I need your help," Sasuke said, turning serious. "You need my help?" Naruto asked, blinking. "Yes," Sasuke said as he nodded at this. "You The great Sasuke Uchiha. Mr. Lord of Darkness needs my help. Naruto asked again. Can we skip to the part where you say yes and beg your woman to be let out? Sasuke asked as his eyebrow twitched in annoyance. Sorry, this just isn't an everyday occurrence, and also I don't need her permission to be let out. I'm a grown man, it, Naruto told him. Oh please, one night and she has you PP whipped, Sasuke said with a snort. Nobody has me PP whipped. IWHPPP. Naruto yelled as he slapped his hands together for emphasis. Excuse me? Janet asked with a firm tone before she slapped the back of Naruto's head. Sorry babe, I can change. I think it was something I ate. Gear 5 briefly took over. I blame the rap music. Naruto asked nervously. You're on notice, what do you want, Uchiha? Janet said before she turned to look at Sasuke. I need your boyfriend's help hunting down the snake BSTRD who gave me that stupid mark and made me go all psycho crazy and try to murder you all, Sasuke said with a firm tone. You found a lead on the child snatcher? Naruto asked, blinking at this. Not just a lead, I found where his base is, Sasuke said, smirking. How the hell did you do that? Naruto asked, surprised at this reveal. Not important, Sasuke waved it off. I disagree, Naruto said as he shook his head. Shut it. Can you let the idiot off the leash or not? Sasuke asked Janet. I'm right here, it, don't ignore me, Naruto grumbled. I suppose it should be fine. Alright, go ahead and help him. I'm meeting up with Doreen and Luna anyway, Janet nodded. Thanks babe, okay, where are we heading? Naruto said to Janet before he turned to look at Sasuke. His base is in Rome. Sasuke said with a firm tone. Italy. That's on my bucket list, Janet said with a slight pout hearing this. I promise to take you afterwards when we don't have a creepy snake man to put in a chokehold, Naruto offered. Oddly specific there, Janet said, blinking at that offer. Yesterday I punched out a dark elf while you guys fought giant ice lizards. Have you seen the CRP we fight? Naruto asked as he waved his hand dismissively. Point made. Alright, have fun, I'd join you, but again I have plans, Janet said as she went back to her breakfast. So you and me kicking as a duo then? Naruto asked as he and Sasuke went to his room so he could get ready. While I would agree to that normally, we may need more help with this. Got any friends we can call on? Sasuke asked curiously. I mean sure, but why not use your group for this? Naruto asked. Oh yes, because the abomination is gonna help me beat up a random snake man cause I ask, Sasuke said with an eye roll. Hey, that's no way to talk about Sockface. I'm sure he's not that ugly under the mask, Naruto chided him. I meant the green guy called the abomination, dumbass, Sasuke said with an eye roll. Oh yeah, the shellfish-looking wannabe Akane kicked the SHT out, Naruto said, snapping his fingers in recognition as he finished getting his hero outfit on. Wait, is that what happened when I was going all haywire? Sasuke asked as he couldn't recall much of that day due to his mark going crazy. Oh yeah, she kicked his ass, making him cry. Anyways, I got plenty of friends I can ask for help from. I'm sure we'll have no issues getting some help. See you later, babe. Have fun with the girls, Naruto said as he and Sasuke left the apartment, leaving Janet alone. Which wasn't long before. Okay, I want details now. Doreen yelled as she came inside the condo through the balcony window, after Naruto and Sasuke had left through the door, while carrying Luna on her back. Couldn't we have just used the door? It's way too early for this, Luna groaned as Doreen let her down. No, we couldn't. I need to know. Details. Now. How big was he? What positions? Tell us everything. Doreen yelled as she grabbed Janet and started to shake her, demanding answers. Ka'alom duduan. I'll tell you, Janet told her crazed friend while being shook over and over again. An hour later, Stark Industries. Naruto and Sasuke had gone to their first destination to try and recruit Tony for help. After all, there's no way Tony would say no to helping out Naruto on this, right? No, Tony said as he looked over a document. What? Oh, on you love kicking ass and beating up villains, Naruto pointed out as Sasuke stood off to the side. Normally you're right. Unfortunately I can't leave the office today. I have responsibilities to my company that I need to oversee, Tony told him. Pepper? Naruto asked after a few moments of thought. Okay, so maybe you're not the only one PP whipped, Sasuke said with a snicker at this. I'm gonna ignore that one, Tony grunted out. Okay fine, I have plenty of other friends to ask, you're just D-list anyway, Naruto scoffed. Hey Wade. Naruto needs help with something. Tony yelled after a few moments of thought. You fool. What have you wrought upon us all? Naruto yelled before crash was heard as a window nearby smashed apart as the Mad Merc arrived. Did someone call for a plate of awesome? Wade yelled as he stood up covered in shards of broken glass. Get moving. Don't let him see the white of your eyes. Naruto yelled as he grabbed Sasuke and made a beeline for a window nearby before jumping out of it, smashing the glass as they made their exit. Worth it, Tony said as he chuckled. So this is your office, huh, Stark? Ooh, what's that button? Wade asked, seeing a button on the wall and clicking, revealing a very large Iron Man armor the size of the Hulk, huh? The Hulkbuster. In this continuity. I'm so taking this for a joyride. Wade yelled as he jumped inside trying to pilot the thing only for the massive armor to fly through the wall and fall to the city below. So that's what karma feels like, Tony said as he sweat dropped knowing that the armor was still in development as a prototype. A half hour later. Naruto and Sasuke had gone from asking Stark for help to calling on some friendly neighborhood assistance from Spider-Man who had met up with them on a rooftop near a construction site. So how about it, dude? Want to give us a hand with this? Naruto asked. Sorry, as much as I'd love to leave the city I can't. Between the recovery from Devil's Breath, the various damage from the snowstorm, and now Black Cat returning and maybe hitting a museum tonight, I'm gonna have to pass, Spider-Man told Naruto as he downed a slice of pizza quickly. Do you have any friends that will actually help us? Sasuke asked Naruto. Why do you two sound alike? Naruto asked looking between the two. I don't know what you're talking about, Spider-Man said as he shook his head. Me either, Sasuke said also shaking his head. Oi. That's my bit UOC substitute. Deadpool was heard yelling as he flew past them in a damaged Hulkbuster armor with 3 signposts wrapped around it and various cracks and cuts before the boot jets fizzled out and he crashed to the streets below. Where did he get a giant Iron Man suit? Spider-Man asked after a few moments of silence. I don't know and I don't want to know. Sasuke said as he shook his head. Me neither, but I want to kick his ass for that OC comment for some reason, Naruto grumbled. Don't let the trolls win. Deadpool yelled from his crater down in the streets. Any more people you have that can help? Sasuke asked. Let's see if Elektra can help us. Naruto suggested as he and Naruto took off roof hopping while Spider-Man went to go help Deadpool. Oh goody, another woman who can both kill you after getting into your pants. I'm noticing a type, Sasuke said with an eye roll. Since when did you get snarky? Naruto asked raising an eyebrow at this. When did that curse mark get removed? Sasuke asked in return. Ah, fair, Naruto said with a nod. Alleyway a half hour later. After a little bit of searching, Naruto and Sasuke had been able to find the assassin who was now talking to them in an alleyway. So what do you say, Elektra? You want to give us a hand with beating up a mad scientist with a snake FTSH? Naruto asked the red-wearing assassin. I'm afraid I have to decline. While I would love to assist you and help, especially after all the assistance you gave me with Fisk, I'm afraid I am currently dealing with an issue that needs to be resolved, Elektra said as she crossed her arms and closed her eyes and thought to herself. What if I offer you a date? Naruto offered. Tempting. Very, very tempting, Elektra admitted. How about a place in his HRM? Sasuke asked with a slight smirk on his face. I suppose I could leave New York for a day and help you. Elektra said as she opened her eyes and slightly smirked. Hey, I didn't agree to this. Do you have any idea what Janet will do if she finds out I didn't get her approval? Those stingers hurt like hell, Naruto grumbled. She already gave me approval, Elektra said nonchalantly. She what? Naruto asked, blinking at this. Yes, shortly after the whole Devil's Breath fiasco. So I don't think she'll be angry about this, Elektra said as she approached Naruto. Well, if you're okay with MPPPH. Naruto was saying before Elektra silenced him with her tongue down his throat before she pulled away, leaving him stunned in surprise. Oh, I'm more than okay. Come along boys, let's see who else we can recruit, Elektra said smirking as she started to walk down the alleyway. A sway in her peach as she did so. You clearly have a type, Sasuke told Naruto smirking. Shut up, Naruto shot back, his eyes drawn to Elektra's rear. So who's next? Sasuke asked as they left the alleyway. We can try my other fellow Avengers, Naruto suggested as the three left the alleyway. At the Avengers mansion later. Currently Naruto, Sasuke, and Elektra were in the foyer of the Avengers mansion with the rest of the team. So what do you say, guys? Wanna help Sasuke beat up a snake man? Naruto asked his teammates. Pass, I got a date night with Laura. She'll kill me if I miss another 1 inch, Clint said simply. Yeah, fair on that. I suppose pissing off your SHIELD agent wife isn't how you want your cause of death, Naruto said with a nod of understanding. I also have a date tonight, Steve said. You have a date? Naruto asked, blinking. Indeed, Shizun wants to see the city since she was unable to during Devil's Breath, Steve admitted. Have fun, but remember this, I see her like a big sis, and if you hurt her I'm gonna make you my special friend, Naruto warned with a chilling grin settling on his face. What does that mean? Steve asked Akane. He's referencing a cartoon. It means you're screwed. As for me, while I want to help you crush that pedophile, I'm unfortunately busy, Akane said as she shook her head. Aw, you going out with Miles? Hope his peach don't break, hey. Naruto said before dodging a thrown mace at his head. Shut up. Akane growled out. Alright fine, Miles can do better anyway, Naruto said with a scoff. Akane's eyes went red at this before she snapped her jaws at Naruto. With a snarl. Hey, watch that language, young lady. No more internet. Naruto yelled as he avoided his sister's attacks. Hank, how about, where did he go? Elektra was asking before she saw that the Ant-Man wasn't here anymore. He's the ex of his head girlfriend. You thought he would stick around to be asked? Sasuke asked, raising an eyebrow at this as he pointed at Naruto. I thought the idea of looking at tech in a hidden lab from someone from your village might appeal to his science-obsessed mind. That's fine, Hulk, how about you, big guy? Elektra explained before turning to the Hulk. Hulk is actually aiding me with a patrol. Now that I can't go back to Asgard, I am partnering with him to help round up some escaped inmates from the Devil's Breath incident still out there, Thor explained. You could take your pet so Tony's gardener can clean the yard, Clint said with a flat tone as he jerked his thumb at Devil Dinosaur who was digging a hole in the yard. Devil, you want to come stomp a creepy snake effer? Naruto asked, opening a window of the mansion. Devil Dinosaur's head perked up at this before he ran at Naruto and tackled him. Alright, DD's in. How about you, Chala? Naruto asked with a grin as he patted the dinosaur on the head. I have business in helping repair Wakanda after the Casket of Ancient Winters incident. So I must decline, Chala explained. Guess we will have to make do with your pet, love, Elektra said as she sighed at this as they all left the mansion's front yard. Great, all these heroes and you could only get us a pet, and an assassin with no powers, Sasuke said. Elektra's eyes narrowed as she took out her sai and spun them a bit in warning. Chill, Sasuke. We can still ask the X-Men and Fantastic Four-inch, Naruto suggested as he shook his head at Elektra, who put away her sai. Fine, Sasuke grunted out as they left the area. X-Mansion. Later the group went to the Xavier Institute for Gifted Youngsters where they were immediately greeted by Wolverine opening the door. "If you ain't dropping off my beer PSS off," Logan told them. "Oh, this is already going so well," Sasuke rolled his eyes. "Relax Logan, we're about to do a mission and we wanted to see if any of you guys wanted to assist," Elektra told him. "I ain't doing nothing unless it's got the word beer in it," Logan said. "What if I give you a case of beer?" Naruto suggested. "That only gets you permission to ask Laura," Logan said. "Done," Naruto said with a sigh as he figured that was the best he would get. "Get in here, leave the dino, and if he makes a mess you're cleaning it," Logan said as he opened the door for the three as Charles wheeled in accompanied by another woman. A blonde woman wearing all white with blonde hair and blue lipstick. "Ah, Mr. Uzumaki, Mrs. Nachios, and I don't believe we've met before," Charles said as he turned to Sasuke. "Sasuke Uchiha." Sasuke introduced himself. "Ah, pleasure. Where are my manners? Meet one of our newest teachers. Mrs. Emma Frost," Charles introduced the blonde woman beside him. "The pleasure is all yours, I'm sure," Emma said looking at the group. "Oh good, she's one of those," Sasuke rolled his eyes. "I'm agreeing with the emo one, Chuck. You sure you want her around children?" Logan asked as he looked at Charles. "I adore children. It's a natural thing." "A female thing," Emma said with a glare at Logan. "I hear some females eat their young," Sasuke said completely deadpan staring at Emma with the flattest stare he could muster. "Ha! I like this punk!" Logan exclaimed with a howl of laughter at Sasuke's barb to Frost. "Excuse you?" Emma asked, her icy glare shifting from the Wolverine to Sasuke. "I didn't stutter," Sasuke responded uncaringly as Elektra started to snicker at this. "Perhaps we should discuss why you have come to the school before you antagonize our newest teacher," Charles suggested. "Right, I need backup for a mission and I'm looking to recruit some help. Are Rogue, Laura, or Storm available?" Naruto asked as he looked at Charles. "I'm afraid Rogue and Aurora are tending to other matters with Cyclops and Jean. As for Laura, she actually just left the manor. She mentioned something about a bar," Charles explained. "DMN it," Naruto groaned out. "Oh look, another failure for recruitment. This is becoming an annoying trend," Sasuke grunted out. "At least I'm trying." "Who have you recruited?" Naruto asked sarcastically. "I could tell him about Amora, but it'll be more fun to watch him squirm a little when he finds out," Sasuke thought, laughing. "Who's Amora and why would she make him feel fear?" Emma asked with a quirked eyebrow. "Hey! You didn't mention that!" Naruto yelled with a panicked look on his face. "Telepathy?" Sasuke asked, turning to Emma with an annoyed tone. "Afraid so, and she's petty, so watch yourself." "That diamond right there is jagged," Logan said with a smirk. "I am the finest of diamonds, thank you very much, you Neanderthal," Emma scoffed. "Yeah, the finest made of glass," Sasuke said with a roll of his eyes as Emma's eyebrow twitched in annoyance. "Oh, I really like him," Logan chuckled out. "Okay, new plan, we as head for the Baxter building and see if Johnny or Ben want to help us," Elektra suggested. Yeah, now what's this about you recruiting my stalker?" Naruto asked as he nodded before he looked at Sasuke with an annoyed look. "I have no clue what you're talking about," Sasuke said simply. "Yeah, and you don't have daddy issues," Naruto said with an eye roll. "This coming from Mr. Mommy Issues?" Sasuke shot back. "Oi! You saw her when she's at her worst, so you don't get to judge me," Naruto yelled as they walked towards the exit. "Did I? I repressed those memories," Sasuke said as he rubbed his head a bit. "I think you just proved his point," Elektra said as she shook her head as they all left the mansion. "Good luck, try not to die." "You still owe me a case of beer," Logan yelled as he closed the door when they left. "Alright, we should leave before Devil does something to the lawn," Naruto suggested as they entered the lawn. "Where did this giant turd come from?" A male voice was heard yelling. "Cheese it?" Naruto asked his companions as Devil Dinosaur ran over to them. Like no tomorrow, Elektra nodded as they all dashed the hell away from the institute. Baxter Building 30 minutes later. You know they're going to make you pay for ditching that T-Rex CRP on their lawn, right? Sasuke asked as the three walked up to the Baxter Building. Probably, but we have pressing matters to attend to, Naruto said as they hopped into the elevator and went up to the Baxter Building's residential floor. As soon as the door to the elevator opened, they were instantly greeted by a flying Franklin Richards floating through the air at quick speeds. Incoming! Elektra yelled as she and Sasuke ducked before Naruto was crashed into by the infant. Hey! What are you doing, sport? Naruto said with a laugh as he caught the child in his arms, who laughed as Naruto held him up a bit. Oh, thank God someone caught him, Ben said as he ran over panting. You good? Elektra asked the rock hero. I have been running after that kid for 3 hours straight. Ben admitted, breathing heavily. I thought you had crazy stamina. Naruto questioned as he carried Franklin on his shoulders. You ever try to chase a flying toddler while being made up of heavy rocks? Ben shot back. Fair point. I'm surprised you're watching him though. Is Sue busy? Naruto asked curiously. Nah, she's helping Jen with a workout in the gym area. I told her I'd watch the little tyke for a few hours while she did that, Ben said as he shrugged a bit. Ah, and I'm assuming Johnny is off. Somewhere else? Naruto questioned. He said he had a date, Ben informed. A woman actually wants to spend time with that idiot? Truly we live in dark times, Sasuke scoffed. Ha! You got that right. So what brings you by? Ben asked curiously. We were recruiting for a mission, but if you guys are busy I think we can manage with the team we have, Naruto said as he started to rock up and down with Franklin on his shoulders. What kind of mission? Ben asked curiously. The kind that involves beating a child-snatching mad scientist to near death, Sasuke informed. Ah. Well, I promised to watch Franklin, but I think maybe Sue or Jen can join you, Ben said with a nod. You sure? I don't want to drag Em away if they're doing important stuff, Naruto told him. Can't hurt to ask, right? Besides, we owe you still for getting us out of the savage lands and for taking down Doom. Least we can do is hear you out, Ben pointed out. Alright, let's ask them, Naruto reluctantly agreed as the group entered the gym area where they saw Jen in her human form wearing a purple workout shirt and matching shorts running on a treadmill, while Sue was in a pair of tight blue yoga lowers and a white top holding a stopwatch. Naruto froze seeing this while Franklin laughed and pulled on his ears, snapping him out of it. Yo Susie. Jen. We got some company. Ben yelled, getting their attention. Naruto. Elektra. Uchiha. What are you three doing here? Sue asked, blinking at them. You know you can use my first name, right? I'm not big on formalities, Sasuke pointed out. They've had one interaction with you, Elektra retorted. Hey Whiskers, what brings you here? Jennifer asked as she got off the treadmill and grabbed a bottle of water and started gulping it down. We were looking to see if you or Sue were interested in maybe helping us out with a mission. Though I'm surprised you're not in your Hulk form while training, Naruto admitted to the lawyer. Wanted to get some training done in my regular form, sorry Whiskers, Jennifer told him with a wink. Oh, I'm not complaining. I like either form you're in. I mean, I really need a mute button, Naruto groaned. You're drowning, Sasuke said with a flat tone of voice. Oi. At least I can actually have a relationship, Mr. Edgelord, Naruto shot back. Jennifer blinked in surprise at this before smiling. Hey Sue, we're done here, right? Jennifer asked as she looked at the leader of her team. Yes, we can call it for today. I am curious on what kind of mission you'd want to recruit us for, Susan admitted. Sure, can you take Franklin? Naruto asked as the child continued to pull on his face, which while it didn't hurt it was getting annoying to speak while having his face pulled. Sure. Come here sweetie, Susan said with a smile as she pulled her son off of Naruto's shoulders and into her arms. Woo, thanks. Alright, so long story short, Sasuke here was experimented on by a crazy snake man from our village, and he recently found a lead on his hidden laboratory. We were hoping to recruit a team to infiltrate and capture him for his various crimes, most of which include experimentation. Naruto informed. Hold on, how strong is that one? She doesn't look familiar, Sasuke asked as he jerked a thumb at Jennifer. Jennifer raised an eyebrow at this before she raised her arm in a flexing motion before she flexed hard, and as she did this she started to transform into her She-Hulk form, which caused her workout clothes to tear as she did so. Specifically in the melons and thighs. You so have a thing for women who can kill you, Sasuke said looking at Naruto. Hey, I have a type, don't hate, Naruto said as he crossed his arms with a huff. Good to know, Whiskers, Jennifer purred as she walked past Naruto with a sway in her peach. So a mad scientist that you want help capturing? Susan asked with a quirked eyebrow. Yeah, you don't need to come if you don't want to. I understand if you want to be here to take care of Franklin, Naruto said to the mother with a small smile. And if I said I wanted to assist you? Susan asked. Wait, you serious, Susie? Ben asked, surprised at this as he didn't expect Sue to immediately agree to going. He figured it would take a lot more convincing to get her to go with them. I admit I am curious about a hidden lab run by someone from your village. I may not have Reed's level of interest if he were still alive, but I wouldn't mind assisting. Especially since Ben has already agreed to watch Franklin for me today, Sue said, pausing at the mention of her deceased husband but nonetheless smiling at the thought of helping the group. As long as you're sure, Naruto nodded with a small smile at the fantastic heroine. I am, Sue said as she nodded before she went to get changed into one of her Fantastic Four hero suits. Then it looks like we have our team, Sasuke said as he took out his phone and sent a text. The embodiment of freedom, a manipulator of darkness and gravity, the invisible woman, a Hulk, a dinosaur, an assassin, and a witch, quite the team I'd say, Elektra said. Wait, which? Jennifer asked as she came back into the room wearing her purple leotard. Sasuke convinced Amora to help, speaking of which there's our way to, Naruto was saying as a green portal opened up before he was suddenly tackled by a flying blonde-haired, green-wearing witch to the floor as she leapt out of the portal. Beloved. Oh, I'm so happy to see you. Oh, the ways I wish to show you my joy. Amora yelled with crazed longing burning in her eyes as she pressed Naruto's face in between her melons. Child present, Ben said as he covered Franklin's view. You convinced her to help? Susan asked Sasuke, surprised as she came back in wearing a white and blue Fantastic Four suit. In my defense, it didn't take much convincing when I mentioned Naruto was coming, Sasuke said simply. Of course I would want to help my beloved with capturing some fool who would betray my future mother-in-law's village. We shall raze the lab to the ground and burn it to cinders before we do unspeakable things on the ashes, Amora giggled out crazily while Naruto's arms flailed while his head was held in between the witch's melons. Less psycho, more hero, Blondie, Jennifer said. Why should I listen to you, Jade Ogre? Amora asked with a glare at the green-skinned beauty. Okay, two things. One, you call me that again and we're gonna have a problem, and two, the blonde you're currently smothering with your rack likes heroes or the occasional anti-hero like Elektra here. But if you don't want the advice, then by all means ignore it. Just makes it easier for me to stake my claim, Jennifer warned Amora with a smirk. Very well. If my beloved likes a good girl, then that's what I'll be, Amora said as she let Naruto up from her melons. I think I saw a bright light there for a moment, Naruto panted out now that he could breathe again. You would go out like that, Sasuke said with a scoff. You know, one day you're going to get a woman you have interest in. And the day you do, I am going to rib you like there's no tomorrow, Naruto told him. Rib me? I'm not into that dope. Try one of your women if you're into that, Sasuke told him with a deadpan tone. Oi. You know exactly what I mean. Whatever, let's get to Rome, Naruto grumbled out as he stood up. Rome? I always wanted to go there, Jennifer said with a smile hearing this. You realize we're going for a mission and not to sightsee, right? Sasuke asked. Doesn't mean I can't get ideas for a date with Whiskers for later, Jennifer said before she winked at Naruto in a flirty way. I will flay your skin from your bones if you get a date with him before Amora growled as her hands glowed green. Amora, play nice, Naruto ordered with a firm tone. Yes, beloved. If you wish to have the ogre as a CNCBN, then who am I to say no? Amora yelled immediately with a smile. Why does her being nice somehow scare me more than her being evil? Ben asked. Hey. I said not to call me that, you crazy stalker, Jennifer growled out. Enough. We're wasting time here. Let's get going, Sasuke ordered. Indeed, so let's put this aside and, Susan was saying as she approached the portal before she felt herself be tripped up and crash into Naruto, sending them both through the portal. The hell? Elektra asked, blinking at that before hearing Franklin giggle. Sorry, kid has been tripping people for fun with his telekinesis, Ben admitted while Franklin clapped his hands happily. When did he get telekinesis? Elektra asked. Yesterday. You should have seen him throw Johnny out the window when he played peek-a-boo with him, Jennifer snickered. I would be concerned about that if Johnny couldn't fly, Elektra admitted. I'm sure it's fine. Come on, let's get to Rome. By the way, you're gonna have to portal Naruto's T-Rex when we arrive, Sasuke said to Amora as he stepped through the portal after Amora led the way through Rome. On a rooftop in Rome, Amora led the way out of the portal for Sasuke, Jennifer, and Elektra. The moment they stepped through, they were immediately met with the sight of Naruto on his back with Susan straddling him. The two blushing as Naruto's hands were on Sue's peach from the fall, trying to catch her and ending up in a compromising position. Hello Penthouse Forum, Jennifer said with a grin, seeing this as she took out her phone and took a quick picture that got the two's attention. Delete that. Naruto yelled out as he and Susan quickly got up. It's gonna cost you, Whiskers, Jennifer said with a smirk as she put her phone in her melons. Why couldn't that infant have made me fall into my beloved instead? Amora grumbled to herself at the sight of this. Don't you have a dinosaur to summon? Sasuke asked, ignoring Amora's crazed grumbling. Of course. Beloved, should I make him small so we can be stealthy until he is needed? Amora asked Naruto as her hands started glowing green. Good idea, Amora, Naruto said as he nodded at this. My beloved praised me. Amora said with a smile as her eyes turned into hearts. Focus. Naruto yelled, reaching his wit's end with the Asgardian, who quickly cast her spell and summoned Devil Dinosaur, only smaller so he could fit in his pocket. She needs to get laid big time, Elektra said flatly at this. Oh absolutely, but me and you get priority, Jennifer said with a grin as she held out a fist to the assassin, who smirked and tapped her own fist to hers. So where's this base of Orochimaru's? Naruto asked Sasuke, ignoring this whole conversation before he is offered up to Amora as tribute. The helpful informant I spoke to mentioned it was by the Roman Colosseum. He didn't give me an exact location though, Sasuke said as he turned his gaze to said Colosseum. How trustworthy is the informant? Elektra asked curiously as she wanted to know who the Uchiha's informant was. Very, considering I wasn't asking him nicely, Sasuke said with a smirk. So we just trust a dude you interrogated and try to find a hidden entrance? Naruto asked, raising an eyebrow at this. Yup. We should split into teams of 2 to find the entrance to his lab. Once we find it, we'll all meet back up, Sasuke suggested. How do you know he wasn't just lying to put an end to the pain? That's usually what happens with interrogations like that. I mean, if you're sloppy about it, Elektra said matter-of-factly. This made everyone look at her with raised eyebrows. Oh please, you all know what I'm about, Elektra said with an eye roll at the questioning gazes. To answer your question, I threatened to crush what made him a man into hamburger if he lied, and to prove I wasn't lying I did it to his buddy. And I made sure to let him know I'd come back and do it to him if he pulled a fast 1-inch, Sasuke informed the assassin. Not bad for a rookie, Elektra said as she nodded in respect. Naruto's eyebrow twitched hearing this. Oh relax, you're more my type. You make me laugh, which is a rarity, Elektra said with a smirk as she patted Naruto's shoulder. Oh. And how are you gonna make me smile if I make you smile so much? Naruto asked curiously. Electra's smile turned more SNSL at this, making Naruto gulp as the look in her eyes turned more primal with lust and longing. I can think of several things, Electra told him smirking. Like what? Naruto asked before he went silent as Electra pulled Jennifer into a side hug, pushing their bodies together. How about a group activity with me, you, and Jennifer? Electra suggested as the two shared feral smirks. I like that idea, how about it, Whiskers? Wanna throw a party with two dangerous women? Jennifer purred as she hugged Electra close for emphasis. I will not be outdone by my love rivals. Quick, we must make our own move, Amora ordered, turning to a blushing Susan before pulling her into a hug of their own. What? Susan stuttered at this, shocked by the action, before blushing as Amora pressed her melons against her own. You know, if we didn't have a job I'd watch how this plays out with some popcorn, Sasuke admitted, amused by the situation. So teams of two, right? Naruto asked, blushing at all that was happening around him. Yeah, 3 teams of 2 and 1 group has your pet T-Rex with them, Sasuke suggested. Sounds good. Okay, Jen, you okay with teaming with Electra? Not for that. Naruto was saying before he quickly amended it, seeing the look in their eyes. Relax, babe. I promise we'll keep it as professional as possible on a mission, Jennifer said, grinning as she and Electra approached Naruto. Thank you, Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. But afterwards? Watch your back, Whiskers, the sensational She-Hulk told him, grinning before the two went off to try and find the hidden entrance of the laboratory. Susan, you okay with teaming up with Amora? Naruto asked, turning to the blonde mother. Well, Susan muttered, still blushing as Amora was still hugging her melons against her own. For a woman from Midgard you would make a good CNCBN for my beloved. Perfect peach to bear his children in dash, Amora was saying before Naruto cut her off. Amora, stop GRPNG, Susan please, Naruto ordered. Yes, beloved. Amora said as she immediately let go of Susan and turned to face him. You two search the upper levels of the Colosseum for any hidden entrances, Sasuke ordered. I don't answer to you, Amora said with a huff as she looked away from Sasuke. If you do this for us, Naruto will take you on a date, Sasuke offered to the Asgardian witch. Hey, I didn't agree to, oi. Naruto was saying before Amora tackled him into a hug. I will work with and keep all of you safe for such a reward. Amora yelled before she broke the hug and grabbed Sue before disappearing in a flash of green flames. USCK surprising nobody, Naruto said to Sasuke with an annoyed tone. Gotta work with what you can and reward the people assisting you somehow. Not my fault, the easiest way to get them to work together is pimping you out, Sasuke said with a smirk. Just keep pimping me out to a minimum. Janet may be open to this whole thing, but she most likely won't like me doing this kind of thing without her knowing, Naruto said with a slight shudder. So should I text her then? Sasuke asked, still smirking as he took out his phone. Don't joke about that, she will kill us both and then find ways to bring us back to kill us again, Naruto warned him as Sasuke paused in his texting. So funny story, Sasuke was saying. Oh, you better not have dash, Naruto was saying when his phone started to ring, and when he looked at his phone he saw Janet's smiling face and number on the ID. You gonna answer? Sasuke asked curiously. I'm weighing my options, Naruto admitted. I may not be an expert, but wouldn't not answering just dig you a deeper grave? Sasuke asked. Okay, into the dragon's den, hi sweetie, how are dash, Naruto said after he steeled his resolve and answered the phone with a smile before. The F witch? Janet yelled out through the phone. It was Sasuke. It was his idea. Not mine. Naruto yelled immediately. Sell out. What happened to bros before hoes? Sasuke said with a flat tone of voice at how easily his old friend folded without any prompting. It'll be bros before hoes when the hoes can't kill me 75 ways before breakfast, Naruto yelled at the Uchiha. Uchiha, I swear to God I'm gonna shrink down and rip you open from the inside if that were tries anything. Janet growled out. Oh please, the assassin and that green one were worse than anything she's done so far. Besides right now she's got the invisible one keeping her in check, Sasuke scoffed hearing this. You just really want her to kill me, don't you? Naruto groaned. You call a team of your to-do list a mission? Janet yelled over the phone. In our defense we tried the other Avengers and X-Men and the Fantastic Four. They were just the only ones who agreed to come. And we have Devil. That counts for something, right? Naruto asked nervously as Devil Dinosaur dug deeper into his pocket to be spared Janet's fury through the phone. Wait, to-do list. This means Jennifer and Elektra are approved. While your main girl most either need help or she's into chicks too. We're having a very long talk when you get home, mister, so help me and tell Jennifer that pic of you and Susan isn't funny. Janet growled out before hanging up. DMN it, Jen. Naruto groaned out as he put away his phone. So she totally pegs you, doesn't she? Sasuke asked with a raised eyebrow. Please, she was begging me all night long last night, Naruto rolled his eyes. Begging you to stop so she can sleep doesn't count, Sasuke said with a scoff. You motherfucker, Naruto was saying with a glare at his friend when they were cut off. Hey guys, we found something. Susan yelled over their communicator. Okay, everyone meet up with Amora and Susan, Naruto ordered through the comms. Underneath the Colosseum. Underneath the historic Colosseum, was a massive laboratory filled with various pods and technology as a pale man with yellow snake-like eyes and black hair walked over to a large computer monitor to see Naruto and Co finding the hidden entrance to his lab at the top of the Colosseum in the form of a hole in one of the pillars leading down to a secret staircase. So Minato and Kushina's BRT decided to help his old friend hunt me down, eh? Well then let's be sure to greet them properly with the seraphims, right my dear? Orochimaru said with a grin as he turned to look at a voluptuous woman with purple hair wearing a purple leotard and a katana on her back. She had DD cup melons, a curvy, toned body, and a plump, round peach. Along with that however was a collar attached to her neck glowing blue as she looked at Orochimaru and bowed. As you longing my MSTR, she said before standing up to confront the intruders. Ah, such an interesting acquisition from that team of mutants she has been. A happenstance meeting, but she has been the perfect test subject for my control collar. Perhaps I should make more and use them on other mutants. Orochimaru mused before standing up from the computer and walking over to a podium in the middle of the room with a metal orb resting there. For now though my interest is in what you house. Quite the interesting piece you are. Definitely not of earthly design or even Yamatoran technology. I wonder if your holdings will assist me in my endeavors, Orochimaru said as he clicked a button on the podium as a laser shot into the metallic object trying to slice it open. In but mere moments metal orb broke apart clattering to the lab floor as a small crystal, glowing purple floated from within the confines of the orb. Well now that is interesting. I can feel the power coming off of this stone. I must study it more, Orochimaru chuckled as his computer monitor started going crazy just from scanning the now revealed power stone. Unknown to Orochimaru, opening the orb would bring many hard times to the planet Earth as the contents of the orb would be sought by foes beyond compare. The purple stone and its 5 other siblings would bring about a reckoning from among the stars. So alright folks, that's all for today. Stay tuned for more crossovers. Do subscribe, like and share for more such videos. Also check out the story and author KFB Anime 87 on fanfiction.net. Press the bell icon to be notified first on release. See you in the next video, till then goodbye.